I know we're all waiting with bated breath. We're so excited. We really just wanted to build in some time for you guys to get to know each other. We're going to wait for some of our guests of honor, but as we do that, I just wanted to say thank you for your patience. Thank you for joining us this evening. Nyaweskeno, Kriki Kazak, Onondawaga Ni'a. My name is Kriki Kazak. I am Seneca, Hawk Clan, and Polish. I wear many hats, and while my official role is civic researcher and High Road Program Coordinator with Cornell University's ILR school here in Buffalo, my unofficial title is High Road Mom. So I do the welcoming, I do the teaching, and some occasional food getting. So as the evening's unofficial mom, I have the privilege to welcome you all and ground us in the space and place where we do this work. For many of us, that means Buffalo, New York, or Western New York, and for some of you, it may be somewhere else. For me, grounding ourselves also means recognizing the literal land, the dirt we can hold in our hands. These days, I have 3 very small children, so not just our high road young folks, but I think about the dirt that ends up on our shoes, on our floors, and somehow every surface of my home, despite my very best efforts. But most of the time in these spaces, we rarely think about the ground beneath our feet, the foundations beneath our buildings, the land, or the people whose memories are held here. We rarely pause to think about the air we breathe and all who have breathed it before us. Who have walked these same paths? What visions did they carry? What hopes did they hold for the 7 generations to come? Those are the same questions we ask now in the work that we do and in the future we imagine for our students and for ourselves. So I want to begin with territorial acknowledgement, not just as a formality, but as an invitation to pause and reflect. Acknowledgements are meant to raise awareness of Indigenous presence and land rights in every day. They should ask something of us. How do we live in right relationship with one another and with the land we share? What systems are we a part of that may perpetuate inequities? And what responsibility do we have to change them? I'd like to start to acknowledge the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee and honor the sovereignty of the 6 nations, Mohawk, Cayuga, Onondaga, Oneida, Seneca, Tuscarora, on whose land we are situated and where the majority of our work takes place. In doing so, we recognize the treaties made on these territories, acknowledgement of the mistakes of the far and recent past, and we commit ourselves to relationships grounded in respect, reconciliation, and collaboration. The purpose of the work we do is to not only question the systems that we inherit, but recognize our responsibility in changing them. And part of how we do that is through art. The High Road Fellowship believes that art in all its forms has the power to spark social change, deepen reflection, and build understanding. As High Road Fellowship founder, Lou Jean Flaron, who I saw earlier, who's with us this evening, she began almost 20 years ago. Every Friday, our fellows share a piece of art to begin our sessions. When we think about changing history, we often think about laws, elections. We have many really great folks in the room today, and yes, those things deeply matter. But before policy shifts, before we can realize the future we hope for, public opinions have to change. More importantly, people's hearts need to be moved, and art has always helped make that happen. From ancient Greece tragedies to Picasso expressing horrors of war, to Billie Holiday forcing a nation to confront racial violence, Banksy, Lin-Manuel Miranda, Janelle Monáe, all sparking conversations about inequality, identity, and justice. These examples remind us of something essential. Facts inform people, but stories move them. And we're excited to hear from stories of some of our students and from our leaders today. Art creates empathy, and I think there's no doubt that empathy is something we could all use a little more of today. If we want a better world, we need data, debate, and discipline, but we need storytellers, musicians, and artists who help us see people not as issues, but as human beings. Again and again, art has done more than just reflect history. It has helped to create it and to move it forward. So with that, I'd like to welcome Sam Toe to the stage, a 16-year-old student at the Buffalo Academy for Visual and Performing Arts, a bit of a local celebrity for his soulful performances of powerful songs. He asked me to share that he loves all of his teachers, which I think is an appropriate thing to share in this space. of education. So please join me in welcoming him to our space.
Summertime, and the living is easy. Fish are jumping, and the cotton is high. Oh, your daddy's rich and your ma is good looking. So hush, little baby, don't you cry. One of these mornings you're gonna raise up singing. Then you'll spread your wings and you'll take to the sky. But till that morning, there's nothing can harm you. With Daddy and Mammy standing by. Oh, summertime and the living is easy. Oh, fish are jumping and the cotton is high. Oh, your daddy's rich and your ma is good looking. So hush, little baby, don't you cry. Look at me. I'm as helpless as a kitten up a tree. And I feel like I'm clinging to a cloud. I can't understand. I'm too misty. Just holding your hand. Walk, girl, walk my way. And 1,000 violins begin to play. Or it might be the sound of your hello, the music I hear. I'm too misty the moment you're near. Can't you see that you're leading me on? But that's just what I want you to do. Don't you notice how hopelessly I'm lost? That's why I'm following you on my own. Will I ever leave this wonderland all alone? I don't know my right foot from my left, my hat to my gloves. I'm too misty and too much in love. I'm too misty and too much in love. Thank you.
Bonnie, you want to come up and say a few words? Let's hear for Bonnie Durant, the president of Buffalo State University.
Thank you, everyone. I have to follow him. Now, I have to say, I know all the words to Misty, but I was trying just to move my mouth and not say anything to mess up that beautiful rendition. So, welcome to the Birchfield Penny Arts Center, our beautiful Birchfield Penny Arts Center at Buffalo State University. I am delighted to join this celebration of the partnership between Cornell, ILR Buffalo CoLab, and SUNY Buffalo State University. And I am so pleased to have Cornell located with us right on our own campus. That's been a big plus and a good partnership. I want to thank my chancellor, John B. King Jr. I'm teasing him because I'm saying his whole name all weekend. Here, I want to thank Dean Colvin from Cornell. I want to thank my legislative leaders who are here, my mayor, my senator, who is also a Buffalo State alum. I tag everybody that's a Buffalo State alum. I say they're mine. I want them to come back and do some work here to help us with our students. So as you know, internships and experiential learning are essential in today's higher education curriculum. And our chancellor has made this a priority for SUNY. And our partnership with Cornell provides us with this wonderful opportunity for our students. Chancellor, I say thank you to you again and to Dean Colvin for your leadership and your vision, and a special thanks to Kathy Crichton for her amazing leadership of this program and for working with us very hard and very diligently until we got the right mix and the right formula for this program. And finally, I will say many thanks to all of you, and welcome again to all who are in attendance. I hope you enjoy the evening. Thank you.
Hey everyone, I'm Kathy Creighton. I am the director of the Cornell Buffalo CoLab. We are part of Cornell University School of Industrial and Labor Relations, and I'm so pleased to be here in this beautiful space at the Birchfield Performing Arts Center. Thank you so much, President Durant, for having us to your campus today and for hosting our beautiful offices. I'm joined with all of my colleagues at the Buffalo CoLab, and we love being placed at Buffalo State. We're having it's just a beautiful space, and we've been warmly embraced by your administration, the faculty, the UUP, and the staff at Buffalo State. And we're really super honored to be joined by the SUNY Chancellor, John King, and Cornell University's Dean Alex Colvin. And most importantly, not most maybe, but we are also having I'm really excited to have a panel of speakers of the outstanding students and alum of the High Road Fellowship Program. Today's panel sits at the intersection of three things. First is the strength of collaboration and the partnership between SUNY and Cornell. ILR represents the really best of what higher education can do when institutions work together towards a shared purpose. The recent inclusion of Buffalo State students into our High Road Fellowship Program is an exciting and important step forward. It broadens our opportunity, it deepens our impact in Western New York, and it strengthens the pipeline of students to engage in meaningful community-based work right here in Western New York. Second is the importance of community-engaged learning. The High Road Fellowship Program is not just an internship, it's a model of experiential education at its best. Students are learning not only in the classrooms, but alongside community organizations. So many of you here today are from those community organizations, labor groups, and public institutions. And they're grappling with real challenges. We're all grappling with real challenges. And what we hope to do is to have students work with you all to contribute towards real solutions to those real problems. This approach reflects the broader vision championed by Chancellor King, and that every SUNY undergraduate student should have access to high-impact experiential learning opportunities that prepare them not just for their careers, but also for civic leadership and engaged citizenship. And third, we're also here to celebrate a milestone of Cornell ILR has been in Buffalo for 80 years this year. 80 years. For 8 decades, ILR has been deeply embedded in the community. We've been advancing research, supporting workers and organizations, and building partnership that strengthen our region's economic and social fabric. And I'm going to do a shout out to Lou Jean Flaron, who was my predecessor in this role for many decades before me and really did such an outstanding job. What makes today meaningful is that we're going to hear directly from students and alums who have participated in the program, and their experiences remind us that these ideas and collaboration and engagement are not abstract but real. So let's begin and have our panel come up. As we come to the stage, I'm going to introduce the SUNY Chancellor, John King, and Cornell Dean. Maybe you two sit in the middle, and then we'll put the students to the sides of you. And then Alex Colvin is the Dean of the Cornell ILR School. And we have Renee Cabrera, Alyssa, Dean King, the Chancellor, Grace Bogdanov, Ray, and Finley Williams. All right, so I'm just gonna moderate this panel, and then if the audience has any questions, please come to the microphones at any time that you feel like chiming in. We're trying to make this chatty and a little less formal. Okay, so Dr. King and Dean Colvin, when we have students, when we do our High Road programs, students are very often interested in hearing from adults or people who are older than themselves about what got them to where they are, what motivated them. So maybe we have a bio for you, but maybe you can speak to a little bit about your personal story and your journey and how you got here.
Sure. Well, one thing about my story that you'll probably actually pick up my slight accent that still exists. I'm originally from north of the border, and this is a state of immigrants, and a modern version of that. I came down here for university, for graduate school, went through the whole process of becoming an American, various stages, F1 student visa, H-1B visa, green card, finally leading up to becoming an American citizen. And I actually took my citizenship test in downtown Buffalo, the Federal Building there. I passed the test. I did want to talk about one of the questions and the answers. Apparently that's not the thing you're supposed to do. You're supposed to give the simple answer. But I was proud to pass that test and then become a citizen. Actually, Cortland, New York is where I took my citizenship. But that's part of my experience, was coming here as an immigrant to work here and now having an American family. But I noticed one of the High Road Partners is an organization that works with migrant families in Buffalo. And that's really something that I think is central to the American experience, and we see it here in Buffalo, and really across the state. You know, the immigrants who came into Ellis Island, but then came up through the state and sort of coming to Buffalo, the gateway to the Great Lakes. So, so I'm part of that story, that immigrant story, in sort of a modern version, but it's great to see our students working with immigrant organizations today.
Fantastic. Thanks, Dean. First, let me say, Kathy, thank you for inviting me and including me in
Thank you for coming.
I'm excited to be here. So, I was thinking about this question, why do I do what I do? It really comes back to my own experience as a kid in elementary school at PS 276 in Canarsie, Brooklyn. My mom passed away when I was 8. and my dad when I was 12. And the only reason I am sitting here is because I had amazing New York City public school teachers who made school a place that was safe and engaging and compelling and interesting, and they truly saved my life. And after my dad passed and I moved around different family members, different schools, it was always teachers who gave me a sense of hope and purpose. But when I went to college, I thought I was going to be a lawyer, and that was my plan. And then I got involved in volunteering in an after-school program and teaching conflict resolution in local public schools and running a summer camp. And I just loved trying to do for other kids what teachers had done for me. And that led me to become a high school social studies teacher. And through a complicated journey from that classroom to being a principal to being Secretary of Education, brings me here to being Chancellor of SUNY. And I love it because the State University of New York is an incredible engine of opportunity for students. And I love being a part of this community of institutions that is changing people's lives every day the same way that teachers did for me.
You both have beautiful origin stories. Thank you. Grace, you are the most senior High Road Fellow alum on the stage. Why don't you start us off? I know, I mean, I'm not a High Road Fellow alum, so I am the most senior on the stage. Can you tell us about your time in the High Road Fellowship and maybe a little bit how this program impacted your career? And then you've been an amazing supervisor to so many High Road students. And from that vantage point, maybe talk about how the High Road Fellowship program is impacting Western New York.
Sure. Well, thank you, Kathy, for having me here. I jump at the opportunity to talk about the High Road Fellowship because it quite literally changed kind of the trajectory of my professional career when I was a sophomore heading into my junior year of college at ILR. I was lucky enough to intern with the Western New York Area Labor Federation, AFL-CIO. And at the time, I had just had 1 year of studies at ILR. I was a transfer student from a SUNY school. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to help people. I didn't know what that really meant or what kind of work there might be for me to do that, but I was starting to get interested in labor. And that summer, under the leadership of then President Richard Lipsitz, I was able to meet union leaders and members all across Western New York. I remember my first day, I was dropped off at 1199 SEIU, and I sat in a room full of probably 100 bargaining committee members and all of Kaleida management and 5 mediators as they were negotiating a hospital contract. And I stayed there until 10 p.m., and then I rode my bike back to the west side where we were living. And I was bit by the bug, that's what we call it, right? Like in that one summer, I decided that I wanted to work for the labor movement, and I felt that the labor movement and working people, you know, exerting collective action to fight for better in the workplace and within their communities was the single most powerful force for economic justice in the United States. And I believe that today. And after I graduated, I got a job with 1199 SEIU, and I'm proud to serve as vice president of our nursing home division. Just last year, I was elected to serve as the president of the Buffalo Central Labor Council, so I'm also proud to represent a number of other unions and union members in Buffalo. To your second question about being a supervisor, it's crazy that I'm the oldest alum at this panel, I think, but it has been such a pleasure. It's a highlight of my year, every single year, to supervise a High Road Fellow. Renee was our fellow last summer, and I swear these fellows are so incredibly smart and engaged and dedicated to the work that we do. I find that every single fellow that we have, every single fellow that we have has really jumped like right away at the opportunity to get involved in the labor movement and to get involved with community organizations who we partner with. And that has really, I think, being a part of the High Road Fellowship when I was in college and now as a leader in the labor movement, it impressed upon me just the importance of solidarity and of building real and deep relationships between community organizations and the labor movement. And that's what we do every single day, and that's what our fellows get to participate in. And they change the lives of working people throughout the 8 weeks that they're here with us, and we couldn't be more grateful for it.
That's beautiful. Renee, do you want to follow up with your summer working at 1199? And maybe
Yeah.
you want to talk about what the High Road program, about the cohort that you built. Because last summer you had a pretty great special cohort, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just say who you are and where you're from.
Of
maybe.
course, yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Rene Cabrera. I'm a junior at Cornell University studying industrial and labor relations. I am from Topeka, Kansas. My bad, I am from Kansas. I've been really excited and grateful to have been a part of the High Road Fellowship. Similar to Grace, I was a sophomore transfer when I was just starting off my sophomore year at Cornell, and I was very much scared of what I wanted to do with my life. Everyone was joining a consulting club, everyone was trying to get into some sort of pre-law fraternity, and I was really scared. Yes, that was definitely a route that I definitely could have taken, but I didn't feel like I was a part of the change that I really wanted to see within myself. You think of Cornell University as such a big university with so many resources and opportunity, and I really wanted to touch base with back at home, being back at Kansas. Life was really tough for me this last year, especially being in Buffalo. The love and care that I got this last summer was truly amazing. I was put together with about 20 to 25 other high roaders my age that are going through the same thought process of what do I want to do with my life? Is what I'm working for, the organization, going to be really what's best for me? But I think what was really tough was seeing a lot of the immigration stuff that was being cracking down back at home. I was hearing so many rumors of ICE being in back at home, but I was using a lot of the resources, a lot of the information that I was getting from the High Road Fellowship, understanding what high road economic development actually looked like, and taking it back into my community. It was just amazing to see Buffalo as a place, as kind of a model of what change could look like. I feel like the community that's here in Buffalo is like no other. Everyone knows everyone, and they really want to make Buffalo better. Being from Topeka, I just felt so lost while I was there. I really wanted to enact cool change and create good policies for us, but that wasn't possible that isn't possible if it's not for looking at other communities that are really doing a good job. So I'm really grateful that I've been able to take advantage of this, but also really extremely grateful for just the setup of having 20 to 25 other people to say, hey, life's tough, but let's go try and take some action wherever we can.
That's great. So we expanded our High Road Fellowship program last year to include Buffalo State students, and Ray, you were one of those inaugural class. Why don't you describe your experiences of coming from Buff State and joining a cohort of Cornell students, which we weren't sure how that was going to work out, so go ahead, take it away.
Thank you, Kathy. So good evening, everyone. I'm Ray. I am in the Master's in Public Administration program at Buffalo State currently, and I graduated with my undergrad in December. And during my time at the High Road, I combined work with the Empire State Service Corps, which is an initiative of SUNY's, with my experience on campus leading like voter coalitions, with work with Senator Baskin in her office, and I really gained a sense of leadership. I really had a lot of momentum through this program because I had they instilled a sense of power, a sense of introspective thought, and it really combined my education and helped me feel like I could do anything. I could be the change that I wish to see in the world. And so learning about the East Side with Senator Baskin was very eye-opening. I've lived in Buffalo for 10 years, and I really had no idea the struggles that they faced and the true challenges and opportunities that are possible on the East Side. So it was a really awesome opportunity, and I would do it again if I could, honestly. I feel like it would be just, every single Friday we learned new things, and even our Wednesday dinners, like having the different food from all over Buffalo and trying different things that I've never been to places before. And it was a really special experience that not anyone has had yet from Buffalo State, and I felt very honored to be able to participate in the program. So, yeah, I really appreciate the chance.
And Alyssa, you're the only person who is here as a current high roader, and so you haven't yet started your summer experience, but how the pre-course working out, and how, if you want to talk about the pre-course and your placement.
Yeah, so my name is Alyssa. I am a Buffalo State student. I'm studying environmental geography. Something that really drew me to the program that one of my professors, Dr. Williams, told me about was that they worked with so many different organizations across Buffalo with a really strong focus on labor, but also with a lot of community organizations like Eastside Stewards, which is who I'm going to be placed with this summer, which I'm very excited about. They really have a strong focus on, you know, the cohort and the pre-course and getting to know each other, which has been fantastic because I know no one from Cornell. But now I feel like I'm really starting to branch out and take a lot of these opportunities, which is something that not a lot of people get to do, especially in Buffalo, especially on the east side, and especially as we move forward with a lot of the program cuts that Buffalo State is facing right now, with my program also being included in those. So it's a very big honor for me to be participating in this. Something that I really loved about the pre-course was that it honestly really exceeded my expectations. I was not really sure what to expect. I was like, okay, I'll take some Zoom classes and that'll be it. But I had the opportunity to travel to Cornell to actually see the campus and see what a different SUNY school looks like, and see what a different, you know, a much larger university looks like in general. You know, Ivy League is very intimidating. But it was really, really impressive, and everybody was so welcoming there. And some of the conversations that we had, not just in person, but, you know, with me over Zoom all the way back in Buffalo, were really, really fulfilling and really enriching. There was something really fantastic about being in a cohort with a bunch of people who are also focused on the labor movement, focused on improving Buffalo, on improving the Great Lakes region in general, and just improving the material reality for a lot of people who don't have the same opportunities that we do.
Great, thanks, Alyssa. Finley, do you want to introduce yourself? And Finley, you came to Buffalo just 2 weeks after the Tops massacre in Buffalo, so you have like your class of 2022 really had some big challenges and unique opportunities for coming together. So if you
just
absolutely. Introduce
Thank
yourself
you.
too.
Yeah, hi everyone, I'm Finley. I graduated from Cornell in 2025, or in December last year, 2025. And yeah, as Kathy said, I arrived in Buffalo in 2022, just a couple of weeks after the Top shooting, a terrible event. And as a Black American from the South Side of Chicago, a place that also suffers from the kind of inequity and disinvestment that the East Siders of Buffalo have been subjected to. I felt a kind of shared sorrow and a kind of kinship with that tragedy, and with the suffering, but also I recognized that I was an outsider coming from an academic institution, coming from Cornell, and so the High Road gave me both the political and socioeconomic framework to understand the structural and systemic inequities that had created the circumstances that led to that terrible event, but also the emotional space and the emotional latitude and freedom to process what all of that meant. A great example of that kind of parallel is that we had a Q&A session with county officials where they kind of described the amelioratory kind of actions that they were taking to solve some of the problems that led to that issue, with expanding transportation access and economic opportunity, really attacking these problems at their core. And then also we got to my placement. I was at Ujima Theater Company. I was not on the east side in my placement, but I got to kind of still visually and concretely see the disparities that the east side suffered with, the disparities between the east side and the west side in really active terms. And then at the end of that, I was able to journal. Like there was journaling built into the program where I could think privately and personally about what all of that meant to me, as well as go back to the other high roaders, the other fellows, and think about that in community. And so that really dovetailed for me very early in the program. It was June 19th, Juneteenth here in Buffalo, and there was a celebration on the east side, and it was really special to see a long wounded community kind of begin in a small but very important way the process of healing and processing and repair. And so I'm very grateful to the High Road Fellowship for the experience itself, as well as the opportunity to get to know a community in what felt like a really intimate way. But overall, I think I gained a really valuable framework for understanding systemic issues that kind of what Kricky said at the beginning of the conversation, introducing the event, that there's facts and there's data and there's analysis, and these are very harsh realities, but there's also a kind of emotional and human-centered side to this too. And the High Road Fellowship built in me, I think, the capacity and the framework to hold those things and those tensions and those complications together.
Finley writes about as well as Sam sings. So her journals were precious to me to read during that period of time. Dean Colvin, you've been supporting this program for 19 consecutive years, and you've also been talking to High Road Fellows for these years. And how does the High Road Fellowship fit with Cornell's land grant mission, and then the future of the American University and the collaboration with SUNY?
Yeah, it really fits to something that's kind of deep in the history of Cornell. So Cornell's founded in 1865 as the land grant institution for New York State, with that land grant mission of practical education. It's both, an ivory tower, but also a place that's supposed to be educating people in connection with the world. And that was very much explicit in the founding of our school. So the ILR School is one of the 4 contract colleges at Cornell that were founded by statute of New York State. So our college is 1945. New York State passes a statute to establish a school of industrial labor relations to improve labor management relations in the state of New York through education, through teaching, and through outreach, through extension to the community. So that was sort of right from the start of our mission. And when we founded our Buffalo office in 1946, our very first extension office, we were having that mission of taking the education out to the community, to educate unions, management leaders, with the idea that that education would benefit the state through improving the economy and working with communities in practice. And so that's been part of our tradition for quite a while. Kathy mentioned the Future of the American University. That's a task force our province has established to think about where Cornell's going, to address some of the questions people have about higher education. There has been reductions in trust in higher education, and we need to be responsive to the public, to the community, to thinking about that. One of the areas that effort is thinking about is connecting education within the halls of academia to our impact in the world. And that's something that the High Roads program has been really doing from the start, from the 19 years it's been around, since Lou Jean founded it, and connected the work we were doing in Buffalo, in the community, with community organizations, with labor organizations, with the academic education that our students were getting, right? So it's bringing the students into that part of the education and enhancing their education. We genuinely believe this will, so I think we've been hearing from the students, it really enhances their educational experience. That connected very nicely to the opportunity we recognized a couple of years ago. We were looking to move our operation, our office here in Buffalo. The opportunity to move to Buffalo State was a fantastic convergence of opportunities, and that we were looking for space. This was a wonderful academic location to be. We've got, it has nice office space for our office, for our team here. dorms for our students on the high roads to stay in. I was hearing rave reviews about the dorms. I was shocked. Usually, academic leadership, you hear people complain. The students like the dorms, which was great to hear.
Bravo, yeah.
The other thing, good parking. Good academic institution having good parking, so that was nice to hear. But the move was also with a thought that this was a way to enhance interaction opportunities, to take advantage of the SUNY network. SUNY is a set of institutions, wonderful institutions, but it really is this kind of community and the network that reaches around the whole state. And this was a really wonderful opportunity for us with our Buffalo office, our Buffalo programs, to connect with Buff State and to be closer integrated with the academic community here. And I think this is kind of what we're seeing from the students who participated in the program is exactly what we're hoping to come out of this partnership here. So I'm so happy to hear from the two students we've heard from about their experiences. Let's hope that continues on.
Yeah, great. Dr. King, how is this fitting into you have a very ambitious program for experiential learning, and how does this program fit into your model and thinking?
It fits in two ways that are really inspiring to hear from the students. One is we hope that these experiential learning opportunities help students figure out what they want to do after they finish. And as I was describing, for me it was doing service learning that led to a career in teaching and in education. And for so many students, if you just have the academic experience without the hands-on applied learning in the world, you may graduate and not really be sure of where you're headed. And so we think an internship for every undergraduate increases the value of the undergraduate experience. But the other thing, and Dean Colvin spoke to this declining trust in public higher education. I think one of the reasons is not all higher ed institutions are rightly focused on civic engagement and their contribution to community. And that's always been a part of the SUNY identity, but we've really tried to double down on that and say civics and service have to be a part of who we are as a community of institutions. Ray was describing her experience with the Empire State Service Corps. With Governor Hochul's support, we launched this effort where we have 500 SUNY students who are doing 300 hours a year of paid public service work, tutoring in K-12 schools, working on environmental issues, working on food and housing insecurity on campus and in the community, serving as peer mental health counselors. It's amazing work. The governor has actually proposed doubling the Empire State Service Corps in her executive budget. We're very excited about that. That is a reflection for us of this idea that we should be of service to the community, that will be an enriching experience for students and good for the communities where our campuses are located. And so High Roads hits both the sort of internship as part of the learning experience and internships as a part of making a difference in the community. So it's a perfect match with what we're trying to achieve. And then having ILR and Buff State collaborate couldn't be better. We're always trying to figure out ways to knit our institutions together, and this is a perfect way to do that.
Right. I'm so happy that we're all here to uplift that, that collaboration. There is no community engaged learning without community. And so I just want to recognize the Partnership for the Public Good. There are members here, the executive director and other members of the Partnership for the Public Good. The partnership PPG was started, it was incubated in our Cornell offices, beginning with Sam McGavern in Eugene in 2008. It's now grown to be its own big adult organization with 390 community partners. And what's telling for me is that each year we have many more community partners apply for a High Road Fellow than we can possibly fill. This year we had maybe 5 times as many community partners seeking a High Road Fellow than we could actually fill. And that's the result. That keeps increasing each year because there is a need in the community, but there's also a recognition that the students that come through the High Road Fellowship Program are just kicking butt and doing so much great work for the organizations where they are placed. They do real work, and some of their work results in legislative changes in the state. And we are also joined not with just community partners, but with our elected officials. We have so many who are here today. We have the Mayor of Buffalo, Sean Ryan, and we have Senator Jeremy Zellner. We have John Rivera, Assemblymember John Rivera, who's also a Buff State alum. We have members from Senator Galvin's office. We have, who am I missing? Who else am I missing? Oh, yeah, Senator Baskin? Oh, yeah. Thanks for being here. Oh, yeah, yes, and Congressman Kennedy's office, thank you. Well, oh, Deputy County Executive Lisa Shamara, and Karen King, the Commissioner on the Status of Women, and Ethan, also from the county's office. So we've been partnering, all of these groups have had at one time or another a High Road Fellow, and so we thank you for partnering with us, for agreeing to take on the students each year. As they do work for you, you do work for them, and it's a great symbiotic relationship. I just want to see if anybody has any questions, if they want to come to one of the mics. I should have primed some people. Just to prime the pump. Anybody have any questions? Oh, yeah, Simon. Simon from Ready Bike.
Oh, well, no need for a name shout out, but I just wanted to, for folks who aren't familiar with, I've been involved in the High Road for 4 years as a supervisor, but can someone describe the partnership between SUNY and the High Road Fellowship? Like, I know last year, I think there was 2 or 3 Buff State students. Are there gonna be more SUNY students now available to do the High Road Fellowship? Is that, and how can SUNY students, join the High Road Fellowship cohort next year, stuff like that? Thank you.
Do you want me to take that? Okay. Yeah. Last year we had 2 Buff State students, and this year we have 4 Buff State students. Because of the generosity and the commitment of the SUNY chancellor, SUNY has a lot of opportunities for students to join, to do internships and fellowships, and so that helped. There's been some funding that Buff State has provided also for High Road Fellows, so it will be expanding. And I think there are other people in the room who have been taking Buff State students. I know the city of Buffalo is taking 2 High Road, 2 students to do archivist work in the city. Becca, you had something to say about that? No? Anybody else? Yeah.
Hi, my name is Ramona Santamaria, and I'm in the Commuter Information Systems Department, and I'm the internship coordinator. I would like to partner with any of you. I would like to have my students apply to Higher Road, and we do that through you, Kelly?
Yep, me or Cricky, yes.
Okay, then just be ready,
Okay.
because my students are coming.
That's great. Can I come over here, Quickie?
Yes.
So I have 2 comments and a question. One is, I think the director of this program is excellent. 2 is, from been involved in political leadership, we love the ILR program because it does 2 things. One, it brings all these new fresh ideas into our organizations, whether it's governmental or nonprofit. And I've had several of the High Roaders. It is only great experiences, but we view the High Roaders as ambassadors. So some of you stay, Grace, and some leave, but they leave with having just this tremendous impression of a city that they probably had a negative impression of when they first came in. So we think it's great that everyone's going to go about their life, but always talk about the great things that happened to them when they're in Buffalo. So we view as ambassadors in training. And then a question for the students, like Renee, you mentioned that, students were already in like consulting clubs. Like how much anxiety is there amongst, college students about what's gonna happen to them the day after, graduation? When I graduated college, it was uncommon to have a job lined up. But my reality, I think, is that was my reality. I don't think that's your reality. And then how much does this type of program, help you sort of figure out where you want to be?
Yeah.
Finley could answer. Anyone else could answer too.
Yeah, I feel like from my perspective, even like the first week of classes, you're already like, in a way, feel bombarded by the energy of, oh my gosh, I need to get into this club to be able to, in 2 years, go work for this consulting firm because that's what I saw on Google and that's what pays well. And this job market is so bad, so I need to go ahead and get that job. That's just the energy that we start to feel, and it sadly just doesn't go away if we're constantly surrounded by what is going on in the news, if we're asked by our parents, hey, how's that internship going? How are those applications? It never really goes away, but I feel like High Road Fellowship gave me a time to just pause and reflect and be like, okay, I applied to Cornell because I want to change the world and I want to do right by the people that raised me. Buffalo is the perfect example to try and test that type of energy. You're meeting amazing individuals who fall in love with the idea of Buffalo and just seeing how much more it could do and provide for its community. I would have never thought that being from Topeka, Kansas. I know I shouldn't say much, comparing Topeka to Buffalo.
Are you a Bills fan now? All right.
Again, I should not be saying much. But just seeing the love and energy that everyone just has towards each other is just so amazing. And it provides you the opportunity to start asking questions. Hey, why is it that you guys do this a certain way? Here's an idea, if you want to try. But like, there's that type of collaboration, that type of partnership that we have with these amazing partnering organizations just really incubates an amazing time for me to grow as a person, but an amazing time for the partnering organization to also grow.
Finley, you want to take a stab at the career part?
Oh, sure, yeah. Well,
Because you just graduated, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm lucky enough to have a summer position lined up at Princeton University where I'm going to coordinate a program for a journalism and college prep program for a really amazing group of low-income and high-achieving and diverse teens. And so the lesson that I am really carrying with me from the High Road Fellowship as I go into that role is kind of like two-way or bi-directional. Where as I interact with and mentor the teens, my goal is to kind of try to approach that interaction with the knowledge and awareness of the systemic barriers that they have faced throughout, like applying to college and entrance into the journalism industry and the kind of mess of a society that we live in overall. But also, of course, recognize a kind of humanness and an emotional core and a real story to all of the teens I'll work with. And then the other kind of side of that is that these are teens who want to be journalists and advocates and politicians and who want to make change in society. So it's kind of a bit of a high road fellowship for high schoolers from all over the country. And I want to try to instill into them the idea that even as they report on or try to fix all of these, work toward fixing all these big problems in our society, all of this is really, the specificities and the details obviously really important, but also so is remembering that there's a real deep pathos, I guess, for lack of a better word, to all of this. And so what I take with me from the High Road Fellowship is like the framework that it provided me with as I approach this kind of work and try to, I guess, build in younger people, other people, this way of thinking about the world that's complex and textured and human-centered, and that really locates its mission at the heart of the people that everyone's hoping to serve.
I think Finley's applied for a job with SUNY.
Oh, right, yes, I forgot. I wrote my joke down. I didn't even say it. If anyone's, after that,
If anyone knows anything about a job with SUNY,
yeah, if anyone's hiring.
only a fool wouldn't hire Finley.
I know some folks you could talk with.
Hello, I'm Sam.
Hey, Sam. Oh, Sam brought his teacher?
Yes,
Do you
my
want to
sister, Miss
stand?
Steven.
Yeah.
It's really a question for anybody who wants to answer, especially y'all too. But for me, being a junior in high school and coming up to being a senior, I have a lot of choices for the future. And there are a lot of times where I just, wake up in the night and I'm like, oh, snap. And I get super scared about what's about to happen, or what can happen, or what will happen. But I just wanted to ask you guys how you guys approach the future and how you guys handle it.
So I just want to start this off because I am actually a non-traditional student. I went to college after high school and it wasn't right for me because I couldn't afford it. And so I started working. I moved to Buffalo and I worked for about 10 years before I decided to go back to school. And so what I would say is I would approach the future as you have time. Like, you always have time to change your mind, you have time to pivot, you have time to make yourself into whoever you are. You can change your mind the following day. And something like when I first graduated high school, I was like, shoot, when I go to college, I'm just stuck with whatever degree I get. And being an adult and, going through life, I realized that even going to Buff State, I changed my major a year and a half in to international relations from chemistry, which is a crazy jump. But I realized that you really can just do whatever it is you want to do as long as it's for the greater good and as long as it's good for yourself. And having this pressure is just like a societal thing. It's not really something that, it's good to have pressure because pressure makes you stronger, pressure makes diamonds, but having that on your shoulders when you want to go out and do good in the world is unnecessary. So that's how I think of it. And I made the most out of my degree, even being a non-traditional student. Like, I joined, all these pins here are a representation of all the things I did. I joined honor societies. I was in the honors program. I founded the Bengals Vote Coalition through the Empire State Service Corps. I did the High Road. And so, just take chances and don't put too much pressure on yourself.
Excellent.
That's so sane. Thank you. Don't you worry, Sam. You got time. Anybody else want to add to that?
I'll jump in. I also followed a bit of a non-traditional path. I'm a little bit older. So I think the sentiment of you having time is definitely a very important thing to remember. You might not feel like it now. I certainly didn't. But that's something that you will kind of ease into. And something else that I think is important is that there's a lot of pressure that comes with the amount of opportunities that are out there. Sometimes it feels like there's so many opportunities that you almost don't want to take any of them, or that you might take the wrong one, but there is no wrong opportunity to take. The fact that you're putting yourself out there and that you're pushing yourself to grow. What is it? The saying for ILR high road students is putting yourself out there, even if you're uncomfortable, just even 10% of the time can have a massive change. So if your default is not putting yourself out there, or only putting yourself out there a little bit more, increasing that by just 10% can change your entire life and the entire course of your life, maybe even the entire situation in a place like Buffalo or wherever you choose to go to school. Hopefully it's Buff State. We could definitely use more people, more Bengals. But,
sign them up, Bonnie.
Yeah, but you got plenty of time and you have plenty of opportunities. It's just a matter of putting yourself out there, which you are clearly more than capable of doing. You did a fantastic job tonight.
Hi, my name is Sarah. I work in veterinary medicine, so you're probably confused as to why I'm here. But working in a field that is so mentally taxing, and you really have to kind of follow the philosophy of your oxygen mask on first, you guys are embarking on journeys that will take you to really challenging places and facing some really massive problems, especially as everybody has mentioned and is astutely aware of, what's happening right now as we sit here. So all right, I guess I was more curious or wanted to hear some feedback on how you guys feel like, you mentioned journaling. Are there other aspects to the program that help you prepare yourself? Dealing with the mental health of facing these issues each day and feeling overwhelmed by the amount of help that is needed. How do you guys feel that you've been prepared to kind of take that on so you're able to keep helping people? Because in my field, that is a huge problem. So it can be overwhelming.
I'm gonna I think one habit that I picked up on this last summer was just going on walks. It was as simple as that. That's what worked for me, but that walk was just leaving the dorm, what is it, Stack? Is that what it's called? Leaving Stack and just walking down the trail at Stewart Park. And I felt just so much more satisfaction just being able to be with my friends and doing something small like that, where I was appreciating my surroundings, appreciating the small things that we have in our lives, because that is ultimately the biggest fuel that you're gonna have to take you to wherever you wanna go. I know for me, I definitely had to take a lot of those walks sometimes just to be like, wow, that was crazy that I saw that today, but it's okay, we'll be good, because any experience is a good experience to do better.
If I could jump in on that as well. I was born and raised in Buffalo. I'm obviously sticking around for a little bit. But something that I've seen locally, something that I've seen nationally, is a lot of contraction. There's a lot of lost opportunities. There's a lot of situations that just seem so wildly out of our control. I think Buff State is, unfortunately, is a good example of that. When we see a lot of the programs and majors being cut, we see a lot of the jobs being lost. Buffalo is a union town. Buff State is a union school, and a lot of what comes along with being in a union or being surrounded by other workers or other people focused on making these changes and being ambassadors, being advocates, is having that solidarity. These problems are massive. ICE is a massive problem. Program cuts are a massive problem. Defunding education across the board, whether it's college or high school, is a massive problem. But that only changes when people get out of their seat and they raise their voice and they do things that are uncomfortable, and they find other people that are willing to do the uncomfortable things, and they form those bonds together. Nobody does work in a vacuum, especially not community work, especially not work to benefit the east side of Buffalo, to benefit even the west side of Buffalo, just any town, any city, any state, anything. There is no act that goes unchanged by another. So I think that is something that you really have to learn how to rely on, especially if you are a person who has just kind of been the more rugged individual and just trying to get through it however you can. That really does not fly when you're doing community work. So I think you could probably relate to being in veterinary medicine. You really have to rely on your team, you have to rely on the other fellows, and you have to rely on the people that you are ultimately there to serve.
I wanted to add something too.
You can see our Buff State students are fitting in quite well.
I think about the fact that taking the high road is a conscious process, and every single action you take, you have to make the decision to do what's right, and it's hard to know what's right to do when you've got all of these stakeholders involved. How do you serve the people that are funding you, but also serve the people that don't have any money? How do you balance that? And also, being flexible with the fact that change has to happen. Here at Buffalo State, we actually have a doctorate for our creative studies program, and I was taking some creative studies classes in my undergrad, and I learned about this theory with chaos. Chaos has to happen in order for it to come back to normal, and that's a natural process. And people don't really know how to handle that because it's a super complex and tough topic to just accept. But once you get through it, which we always find a way to, once you get to the other side of it, it's brighter and it's better and it's improved. And so I think that there's challenges everywhere, and how do you know which one to prioritize? But the people that are willing to stand up and do something about it are the ones that are going to see action. And my coalition that I founded, my slogan was, "Democracy is not a spectator sport." And that's so true. You have to do something if you want to see something change. So.
Thank you. Well, you can see why this program is the highlight of my year. So I want to thank you all so much for coming and lifting up the High Road Fellowship Program and the collaboration with SUNY and Community Engaged Learning. And thanks all to our community partners who came, and to Sam McGowan and Lou Jean, who really started this whole program, and our PPG partners who are our community partners, our government partners who are here, and then all the support we get from Cornell University to keep Buffalo moving forward. We're extremely grateful. And now we're going to have a little reception. There's just food and some non-alcoholic drinks upstairs. Sorry about that. And Nellie Brown, who runs our workforce health and safety programs, is going to be playing the harp. So make sure you take note of Nellie playing. And thanks. Let's just go upstairs and continue the talk.
Good job, everyone.